The following program is underwritten by the generous support of Associates of Glens Falls and Loomis and Lipan Insurance. Since 1852, they have been assisting both businesses and individuals across the country secure the most comprehensive insurance products available. Associates of Glens Falls is proud to partner with Central Insurance Companies. Public Affairs programming on Look TV is underwritten by the generous support of Pinnell's Restaurant, classic Italian-American food since 1922, and Stored Tech, technology solutions for computers, networks, and phone. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcome. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Most cybersecurity firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Town of Queensbury Town Board meeting. It is September 28th, 2020, and the time is 7:03 p.m. Before we begin regular agenda items, would you all please rise and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, that was tough.
Pat your tummy. A little delay there. All right, so we have 2 presentations tonight. One from the Fund for Lake George, they're going to talk about the Hemlock Woolly Aldehyde, or HWA, and I'll introduce them in a minute. And then from Catholic Charities, talk about the federal SNAP program, will be Ben Driscoll. Okay, so for our first presentation, basically establishing a sealable pilot project for the Lake George region to identify and stop Hemlock Woolly Aldehyde. We have from the Fund for Lake George, Eric Sy, he's the executive director, and Zach Zimick from the conservation, and he's a GIS analyst for the Nature Conservancy. Okay, so either one of you would like to start? Ron.
Sure, I'll start. Yeah, this is Eric. Thank you, John. And Zach Zimick from the Nature Conservancy, who is actually a conservation and GIS analyst for the Nature Conservancy, but he works with the Adirondack Park Invasive Plant Program. And so we're going to speak to you, and I'm sorry I'm joining you by phone. I could not get, I have to concede here, confess, my Zoom link to work, so apologies for that. But fortunately, Zach did, because he's going to be sharing a PowerPoint with you. Can you all hear me okay?
Yeah.
First off?
Yeah, we can hear you fine, Eric. Yeah.
All right.
I was going to
so
zoom in on it.
Situation, I think you've all seen it in the news. It's been pretty widely reported that we have had a recent infestation detected at Lake George, and it is Zach will give us more on the details, but it's covering 250 plus acres and about 1.5 miles of shoreline on the eastern shore of Lake George. And so what we have done in response to this very unfortunate news, I mean, this is a very serious situation that, just a bit of background, the hemlock woolly adelgid has ravaged literally millions of acres of hemlock stands in the eastern U.S. And I don't need to tell you all that Lake George, the signature tree in the Lake George watershed, is the eastern hemlock. About 80% of the species in the basin are hemlock. So the potential devastation to the Lake George watershed is enormous. So in a very rapid organizing effort with the fund, APIP, the Lake George Land Conservancy, and a full suite of others, we have designed and are now implementing a 4-stage program to, as John put it, to seek and stop the spread of hemlock woolly adelgid to the fullest extent possible, employing every tool in our toolbox, including, as Zach will describe, remote sensing technology. And what that is designed to do is to allow us to identify much earlier than would otherwise be the case potentially affected trees, impacted trees that are under stress from this terrestrial invasive species. And what that will allow us to do then is to send out survey crews to inspect what we see by satellite, and then, as necessary, to treat and control the spread. So this is a full court press, all-out effort, and it's all in financially. The fund is the lead investor in this effort. The total budget, and Zach will go over that for you, is $125,000 plus to put this in motion. And we'll break it down for you, the elements of the budget. But the bottom line is we are looking for, and we really need partner support to fully meet the project budget. As I said, the fund is the lead investor here, and we have committed $75,000 of the 125 plus to get this underway immediately, without delay. And without further ado, what I'm going to do is to, particularly since I'm on the phone, but I'm going to hand it over to Zach, who will now take us through a brief PowerPoint that describes this 4-stage project in detail. And last point, this is designed to be scalable beyond the Lake George watershed. It's designed to grow as we learn and apply additional remote sensing technologies beyond those Zach will feature in his presentation. And it's, I think most importantly, nothing like this has ever been done before, where we have pulled together public and private interests at all levels of government, including the federal government. The Forest Service is one of our technical advisors here in a voluntary capacity, to hopefully create a new model for much better control of this species and its impact on our hemlocks in Lake George and beyond. So, Zach, can you pick it up from there, please?
Sure thing. Thanks for that introduction, Eric. So good evening, everyone. This is Zach Simic speaking. I'm the Conservation GIS Analyst with the Nature Conservancy's Adirondack Park Invasive Plant Program. And Eric provided a nice frame of reference for this project, and now I just want to take a few minutes to dive under the hood and share in a little bit greater detail what it is that we're trying to achieve with this approach. So as we've learned, unfortunately, the hemlock woolly adelgid, a devastating invasive insect, is present within the Lake George watershed. What you're looking at here is the watershed boundary, and highlighted in green are the abundant eastern hemlock forests that are found throughout that watershed. We first found HWA in the Lake George region on Prospect Mountain in 2017, And thankfully, that was an isolated infestation only affecting 3 trees, which were quickly treated with insecticide and deemed eradicated. Unfortunately, HWA was found again this year at the Glen Island campground facility on the eastern shore of the lake. It was actually found by a citizen scientist. And over the last several weeks, a variety of partners, including the DEC, Cornell University's Hemlock Initiative, and several local conservation organizations have been busy surveying this particular infestation to get a thorough understanding of how widespread it is. And unfortunately, what we've found is that this new infestation is well established and quite widespread. As Eric mentioned, it is currently covering over 250 acres along about 1.5 miles of shoreline, and includes a large 200+ acre site as well as a smaller satellite infestation. This is truly unfortunate news for the watershed, given the abundant hemlock resources. And in response to this, there will be an intensive management action that will begin next week and probably take at least 3 weeks to help chemically treat some of these trees to limit the adelgid's growth and spread. But when we're faced with an infestation of this size, it really makes us think, if we had a better early detection tool in our toolbox, such as remote sensing, could this infestation have been found sooner, giving us better opportunity to respond to the infestation while it was smaller in size? And that is exactly what this initiative aims to do. So we'll be using a suite of remote sensing technologies to survey a large portion of the southeastern Adirondacks, extending from the northern borders of the Lake George watershed south to about Troy, New York, which prior to detecting HWA in the Lake George region, Troy was believed to be the northernmost edge of the established infestations. So we'll use remote sensing across this 4,400 square mile area to help identify forests in decline, which could be essentially a canary in the coal mine that indicates HWA could be present at these sites. So we have a suite of technology at our disposal, everything from satellites to manned aircraft to unmanned aerial systems or drones to even on the ground work. But for this initial cut of the pilot project, we'll be utilizing 3 freely available satellite data platforms, including Landsat, Sentinel, and Worldview satellites. And what these technologies allow us to do is to essentially measure the greenness of vegetation. In other words, provide us with an objective measurement of the plant's health. And we can look at this measurement over time to identify areas of forest that over the past several years are potentially declining in health and warrant additional ground surveys. As Eric mentioned, this is a multi-stage project that involves several different components, which we aim to advance in parallel when possible to accelerate some of the on-the-ground outcomes that we expect from this effort. So currently underway in stage 1 are intensive delimitation or survey and control efforts to address the known infestation of hemlock woolly adelgid at Glen Island and Shelving Rock. These will continue through October with those 3 weeks of chemical treatment. At the same time, we currently are beginning, actually just this week, some resource-based early detection surveys utilizing a crew of 4 professional forest pest surveyors to search throughout other portions of the watershed in an attempt to identify any other previously undetected infestations. Meanwhile, we are beginning development of the model, which will be used to identify declines in hemlock health. We hope to have this ready in early February, at which time we will deploy additional ground crews to survey for another 4 weeks, following up on those hotspots or areas of declining forest health that were identified in our model. And the goal here is that all of these collective efforts will help us to better identify any other previously unidentified infestations of hemlock woolly adelgid that are currently in the watershed. This will provide us a better opportunity to rapidly respond to those infestations and mitigate any of the impacts that they could have on our hemlock resources and the additional services that they provide. And as Eric mentioned, this is about a $125,000 plus project, which is the costs are allocated to both ground-based survey efforts as well as development of a model that once it's prepared can be scaled to larger Adirondack Park or even New York State. And I will pause now to ask if there are any questions.
Well, are there any questions, folks? About the hemlock woolly outage? Zach, you don't have any pictures so that the audience can search the hemlocks to see if there is an infestation and then report that? Do you have anything on that, Zach?
That's a great question. I actually do not have any pictures of the adelgid itself in this slideshow. However, I would suggest doing that. There are several press releases that have gone out regarding this project. So if you do a quick Google, you'll definitely find pictures of the adelgid. This is a good time to be looking for them. You'll see that big waxy wool that they leave on the underside of hemlock branches.
That's a great question, John. And in addition to what Zach just said, there are specific web links, both to DEC and to the Cornell's New York Hemlock Initiative, where you can get, soup to nuts understanding of what the adelgid is, including ID photographs of what to look for, as Zach has described. So it wasn't included in this was really focusing on the project, but you're exactly right. People need to know what we're looking for, and it's really important to point out, though, it's a tough, and Zach will attest to this. He's in the field quite a bit on this front. It's tough to find. It's tough to identify, and you can imagine in mature hemlocks way up high in the canopy, this could be an infested tree that from the ground you cannot see. So all the more reason to bring these additional technologies to bear that will give us an eyes-on view that's not otherwise possible. And I got to stress again that it starts with satellite technologies because they're freely available, but does not stop there. As we go, we're laying a foundation for a process that is going to get increasingly more precise, and we'll be refining the model that Zach mentioned as we go, as we learn. And our absolute intent is to have a high-powered tool that makes a real difference in seeking and stopping this highly destructive invasive species. And we appeal to the town, as we are with other public and private entities, to consider participating as a co-funder here. Very similar, I might add, to the way we have addressed aquatic invasive species at Lake George, whereas hopefully folks know full well that it is a co-funded program. The Lake George Park Commission's Aquatic Invasive Species Prevention Program, we co-invest as equals. So half of it's provided by the state of New York, the other half of the annual budget is provided by a consortium of interest. So this isn't quite the same, but it's a similar model where co-investment is key to marshaling the resources necessary to do everything humanly possible to prevent this species from altering forever the forests of the Lake George watershed and beyond. So,
all right. Well, I want to thank you, Eric, and I want to thank you, Zach. Eric from the Fund for Lake George and Zach from the Nature Conservancy for your progressive and aggressive action in trying to protect Lake George on this matter. And I know, Eric, you are attacking Lake George's ill impacts from many different directions, this just being one of them. And thank you for all you and the Fund for Lake George and everything that you do. And Zach, I want to thank you for everything that you do in the Nature Conservancy, a wonderful organization. And it seems to me they're very lucky to have you as well. So thank you, both of you. And Zach, before you leave, will you transfer the host back to me? Oh, you did.
Yeah, thank you, John, and thank you, everybody, and concern here as we move forward.
Okay.
We need all the help we can get with it, so thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, have a good night.
You too. Take care.
Yeah. Okay, so next, Catholic Charities, Federal SNAP. SNAP is an acronym for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. And Ben Driscoll, who is the Nutrition Outreach and Education Program Coordinator, will talk about SNAP and other things as well.
Slides.
No, I'm all set. Presentation.
Yeah. Ben Driscoll.
Thank you, Supervisor Stroud. Can everyone hear me? Okay, great. I appreciate the invitation to come over this evening. My name is Ben Driscoll. I work for Catholic Charities for Saratoga, Warren, and Washington counties. I've been with the organization for just over 5 years now. I've been affiliated with the organization for over 30 years. My role at Catholic Charities is to administer the Nutrition Outreach and Education Program, which is a program funded by New York State Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance. That's the organization that funds social service agencies throughout New York State, as well as down in the boroughs of New York City. In 2019, approximately 3,700 different households each month received SNAP benefits. That represents about 6,800 people each month that are, again, receiving SNAP benefits. That represents about 11% of the county's population, if my math is good. There's still more households, individuals, and families that are eligible for the program and are not yet receiving it. That's for a variety of reasons. The program has also been known as food stamps, which has a negative connotation, and people think that that most people or many people that receive food stamps or SNAP benefits are cheating the system. The numbers in New York State, as well as throughout the United States, are pretty much consistent. Approximately 40% of the individuals who benefit from SNAP benefits are 16 years of age and younger. Approximately 25 to 30% are 60 years of age and older. So that represents about 2/3 of the population who receive food stamps locally. Of the remaining 30 to 35%, a majority of those individuals have a regular monthly income. That can be from employment, sometimes 2 or 3 jobs, part-time, seasonal, self-employment type of income. Some of it is from disability income. They're not physically or mentally able to work or work full-time. You all have seen individuals who commit fraud or abuse. That represents in Warren County less than 2% of those who actually receive the benefit throughout the year.
they get their picture in the poster and they're caught and have to pay back that money. I want to focus on the 98% plus who are deserving. It improves the quality of life in those households. It's been shown that a child who has had a balanced diet of 3 meals a day does better in school. An adult does better in the workplace, and a senior citizen is more independent and self-sufficient. Most importantly, from a cost-effective standpoint, they don't go to the doctor's offices as often or get admitted to the hospital, which cuts down on Medicaid costs, which in Warren County is a substantial part of our budget. I should also say, if those that don't know, I also serve on the Warren County Board of Supervisors, along with John representing Glens Falls 5th Ward, and that encompasses Glens Falls Hospital, Haviland's Cove Beach, the industrial park on Pines Island, and abuts town of Queensbury and 3 or 4 points in that area. So along the river. And I've been doing that for 3 years after taking a few years off, and prior to that serving 8 years on the Glens Falls Common Council. So I appreciate presentations that are short and right to the point, and I'll try to do that tonight. My job is to educate and inform the public about the SNAP program, as well as other federal programs. We're soon going to be coming up to the heating season, and the Home Energy Assistance Program plays a tremendous role in keeping people safe and healthy during the winter season. Too many senior citizens, and seniors represent a substantial percentage of the people that I serve, make choices between paying the heating bill, buying food, filling subscriptions that are important to their health and well-being. They don't have to. The SNAP program and federal programs don't supplant a household's income and expenses. They supplement it. And that's why the program is called the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. It works hand in hand with the families. And again, my role is to shake the branches, get out there in the community as best I can during COVID-19, and just educate and inform, work with elected officials, community and business leaders. It's not surprising that many of the people that you may have worked with were receiving SNAP benefits. People that you worship with, that you see living just down the street, walking their dogs past your homes. So it's important that that we all are ambassadors to the programs that exist. In Warren County, we've got a great Department of Social Services. We've got a super Office for the Aging, Veterans Services, and certainly public health. I'm proud to say that my wife works for Warren County Public Health. These are what I call people program services. We've got to repair roads and infrastructure and all those types of things, but never at the expense of programs that serve individuals and families. So every October 1st, the federal government changes the amount that a household can receive in gross earnings in order to qualify for the SNAP program. They also changed the maximum amount that a single individual or larger families can receive. As an example, a household with a disabled or age 60 plus member or dependent paying dependent care expenses. That would include parents who are paying for daycare. They go under the 200% of the federal poverty guidelines, which is the maximum amount is increasing from $2,082 per month to $2,026. And the benefit amount is changing from $194 up to $204. What I tell people is that $194 or $204, if you round that off to $200, that's approximately $2,400 that a single individual is receiving in benefits during the course of the year. I challenge any of you to find a hospital that will allow you to put your head on a pillow for one night that someone isn't going to be paying less than $2,400. So again, it's the program is designed to help improve the quality of life for individuals, keep them healthier and safer. And I brought some business cards. When these numbers change, and I'll have to do all the calculations, I will get some information electronically sent over to the town hall, as well as some paper copies. And I would encourage you, after you grab my business card, give me a call anytime. My Catholic Charities number is there, and if you want to call me as a supervisor, call me as a supervisor. The telephone number is there also. Thank you for your time and attention. And yes.
Yes. There's a group on Facebook. I think it's called Glens Falls Cares or something like that. Yeah. I had noticed a couple of comments the other day about there had maybe been extra SNAP benefits associated with COVID and people hadn't received them. They were asking where to go. And
my son actually responded for me. Right. But yeah, in addition to the regular SNAP benefits, they had the pandemic EBT, which is the card that people receive their benefits for. Families during, I think it was May and June, received who had school-aged children who weren't able to participate in the breakfast and lunch programs. Even if they weren't a participant in SNAP, or if they weren't receiving, the household wasn't receiving Medicaid, they were still entitled. So basically the school district was doing the information on that.
So
but again, it's
if we ever see a question, we send them to Catholic Charities?
You could send them to Catholic Charities, okay. Yeah. And I work with all of the area food pantries, as well as a whole host of not-for-profits. I was on the phone with the coordinator of the Queensbury United Methodist Food Pantry this morning on a matter. And again, it's basically, working together to make sure that no one falls through the cracks. So I appreciate your time and have a good meeting. I'm going to hang around for a little while.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Pat, and thank you for what you do in Catholic Charities and the SNAP program. It's a great program, and no better person than you that I know of getting the word out there and making sure the people that need it get it. All right, can you explain why the off doesn't work though? Yeah. Great. Bingo. All right. We're gonna have to live with it. Modern technology. All right, so look at the lights. You want to hit those switches for us, please, Peter? Pay production. Thank you. Okay. There are people. There's a number of people I didn't anticipate. I mean, we haven't had this many people show up for a meeting in a long time. So try to keep your spatial distancing. There's some people waiting out there. I just don't know what to do. We'll get moving. Some of you are here for the early on. We have 3 local Board of Health issues, and we'll need to go into the local Board of Health. And then we have several public hearings. And matter of fact, 13 public hearings in all tonight. And then we'll have 7 resolutions. So to deal with the first of the public hearing, we need to go into the Queensbury Local Board of Health. So is there a motion to do that?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Menavere, seconded by Councilman Ferrone, Councilperson Ferrone. All those in favor of moving into the Queensbury Local Board of Health, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, aye, we're unanimous. We're into the Local Board of Health. So, Rose, if you'll introduce the first public hearing to the public.
It's a public hearing on a sewage disposal variance application of Keith and Sarah Barton.
All right, Keith and Sarah Barton, who live at 120 Sunnyside North, want to install a septic system. And with certain components, they're going to need variances from the town code. They were requesting 4 variances. They go as follows. First variance. The infiltrator H20 chamber absorption system to be located beneath the driveway. 2, absorption field to be 1 foot 5 inches from the property line instead of the required 10-foot setback. Septic tank to be 3 foot 5 inches from the property line instead of the required 10-foot setback. And distribution box to be 1.5 feet from the property line instead of the required 10-foot setback. And this is for property on 120 Sunnyside North, owned by Keith and Sarah Barton. So I see we have an agent for the applicant. And if you introduce yourself and expand on what I said, I'd welcome that.
Good evening, board. I'm Tom Hutchins, Hutchins Engineering, Queensbury, here on behalf of Keith and Sarah Barton, who are here with us tonight as well. The Bartons have owned this property since for 40 years or thereabouts. And historically, there has been a mobile home on this property that was very close to the road. In fact, a portion of it was actually over the right-of-way bounds, and that had been there since the 1960s. That home has been removed. It hadn't been used in some years, and it's dilapidated. And I don't know if you remember it, but it looked like this. It was a pink mobile home that was past its useful life. What they'd like to do is construct a small residence on this parcel. The parcel is somewhat constrained, being on the lake, and there are neighboring water supplies. The location we have chosen for this wastewater system maintains setbacks to all water supplies, neighboring, as well as the shoreline, and stays away from a decent slope that goes down toward the shore. It is located beneath the driveway, and that's the quest of the variances we're requesting. We've shown an H20 rated infiltrator chamber system, which is built to be installed in traffic areas, and I think this board's seen that system before. And the other variance we're asking for is property line setback, just because it is a somewhat narrow parcel, and where we have it is where we feel is the best technical place for this system on the parcel. And we'll be, assuming we're successful in this variance request, we'll be going before the planning board and perhaps the zoning board for the residence itself. But with that, I turn it over to the board for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
I was there today. I took a look at the property. I had a picture from the town's website, so I did see that there was a mobile home there, which there's a big hole where the mobile home was.
Yes. Yeah.
And I assume that's approximately where that new septic system is going to go.
Yes.
Right there.
A little further back off the road, but
okay.
Yeah.
All right. But again, an extremely narrow piece of property there. There's not much you can do. I like the fact that you're trying to keep it as far away from the lake as possible, so it's up at the top of the hill next to the road. So I didn't see much problem with it.
Okay. All right. So, Tom, I may call you back and we'll open the public hearing.
Okay.
The public may have some questions and we may need you to answer those questions if you don't mind. And thank you for wiping the desk and microphone. And I'm going to ask all people that come forward, please clean it to find your department. Thank you. The cleaning wipes are there in the podium. All right, so I'll open the public hearing on this resolution to consider the variances being requested by Keith and Sarah Barton tonight for 127 Side North. Is there anybody here who would like to speak to this application for variance? Is there anybody on Zoom? And if there's anybody who's watching us YouTube, please call area code 518-761-8225. I think you got it on the YouTube. I've got my phone here. You need to have a caller ID. I will not accept generic names. It has to be your name. I will accept that. So the public hearing is open. All right. Now, appearing to have no public interest in saying anything further, are there any additional questions to ask of the applicant's agent? Hudson?
Yeah, I just had one other question.
Tom.
There was no other pre-existing system here? There was nothing that...
Yeah, it was just on the lake side of where the mobile home was,
Okay.
up on the high ground, so almost underneath it. And it was an antiquated. Yes, that'll be dug out.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any further questions? How about a resolution to approve?
Close the public hearing.
hearing.
I'll close the public hearing. Thank you.
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Councilperson Medevere, seconded by Councilperson McGee. A roll call vote on this, please, Rose.
Councilperson Freer,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
McGee, yes, Stroud,
Yeah.
and Medevere.
Yes.
All right. Passes. Good luck. Thank you, Tom. Good luck to Keith and everybody. So there are additional chairs for anybody out there that would like to come in. Please wear your mask. Okay. Would you introduce the next request for sewage disposal variance? Please, Rose.
It's a public hearing on sewage disposal variance application of James Broda.
Okay. James Broda owns a residence at 136 Cleverdale Road. And they have filed an application for variances from provisions of the town of Queensbury on-site sewage disposal ordinance, chapter 136, to maintain a pre-existing non-conforming septic system with the placement of the leaching system. So what they're asking for the leaching system is that it be 65 foot from the well in lieu of the required 100-foot setback. And the second variance that they are requesting is 10 foot from the dwelling instead of the required 20-foot setback. So we have a public hearing on that. Is there an agent or the owners who wish to speak to this application? Please come forward and identify yourself.
Morgan Gazettas, agent for James Broda.
And you are again,
Morgan Gazettas.
Morgan Gazette.
Morgan, M-O-R-G-N, Morgan Gazettas.
Morgan.
Yes, sir.
And would you spell your last name?
Gazettos, Gazetos.
All right. Mr. Gazzetta, would you elaborate? Tell us a little bit more about this system.
I don't know if you had a chance, Supervisor, to read my letter that I accompanied with the variance application, but it's kind of an interesting story.
Yeah.
I've come before a couple of boards. I do docks up in the lake and for zoning or for land use variances stuff, but this is the one occasion where I'm doing for myself, and it's interesting because this is the one time where I couldn't find a solution to the problem by changing anything. And so my friend Mr. Broda acquired this house from the gentleman passed, and his girlfriend had it, and I conned him into letting me get under contract for it because it'd be closer to my parents' place and closer to him. And the funny thing about this is, anywhere I go different with that septic system, I get close. I encroach on the distance to the neighbor's well. And if not, I'm only bringing it closer to my own well. So it's funny how the minimum variance is the existing. And then Mr. Broda still owns it. He let me start working on it before I acquired it. So we were doing the siding and the windows in the wintertime. And my guy John is pushing in the bathroom window to me, and we're going to go retrim it. And I put my boot right through the bathroom floor. I mean, like knee deep through the bathroom floor. And so the whole reason I'm here before you is because it passed for the transfer in September. But the house is unusable because I can't put the bathroom back together. So I'm not changing floor size, bedroom count, nothing. The bathroom's maybe 8 by 6. It's just, I guess, the way the tub was, because it comes down partially under a slab, the water would run along the joist and just eat in that one spot in front of the window. And through I went. And then we're cleaning up later, and here comes Dave Hatt, and he goes, "Oh, you're gonna need a permit for that." I thought, "Oh, no big deal. It's a bathroom floor, right? How bad can this be?" And thanks to COVID and all that, here I am. The never-ending bathroom.
Okay. Before I open the public hearing, are there any town board questions of the applicant's agent?
Considering the 65 foot from the well, and even you said for your own well as well, have you considered putting in some kind of ultraviolet system just to?
I would have no opposition to that. I mean, it's like I said, the bathroom's beat, so if we're going to go through the floor, we're probably going to replumb anyway.
Yeah.
So I'd probably think something like that, or the micron filter I love with the
just for that extra.
Absolutely. And my parents' place is further down Cleverdale, and so we did UV to micron because it comes out of the lake.
Thank you.
So will that be a contingency to add to it?
I think it should be. I would like that.
I just want to make sure.
Oh, yeah.
I'll start bidding.
Well, it sounded like there was no opposition, so, yeah.
I think it's a good suggestion,
Mm-hmm.
and it appears to be consensus of the board. So if you would add something, if we do consider for approval tonight.
Thank you, Bob.
Any other questions or thoughts or concerns before I open the public hearing? Seeing none, and if you'll have a seat, I may ask you to come back up to answer some questions.
Sir, thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you. And if you will just take out one of the sanitary wipes and clean the area around you. Thank you. So I'm going to open the public. Anybody present who would like to speak to this application for a septic variance? Is there anybody in the Zoom world? No, I don't see anybody in here. Anybody in the YouTube world want to call in? Area code 518-761-8225. Okay, I'll close the public hearing. Any further thoughts on behalf of the town board? Bob, are you ready for sharing your thoughts for amending this resolution for approval?
Sure. I think we just add another resolve after the resolve that has the 65 feet to 10 feet. We say resolve that the variance and continued use of the septic system is contingent upon there being a working UV system as part of the well and water system.
All right. Did you want to put it on the well's water, or did you want to put it on the outflow from the tank?
No, it goes from the.
I think for the well water, no? Yeah.
I thought it was the well.
Yeah.
I thought it was the water.
To the potable water.
Okay, well, we could go either way, but this is for the well water.
Right.
Okay. All right, that's
Part of the well and
is that
water.
okay with the board?
Yep.
Okay. So is there a motion to approve the resolution as amended?
Make a motion.
Motion made by Councilperson McGee.
Second.
By Councilperson Perron. A roll call vote on this, please, Rose?
Councilperson Perone,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
Stroud,
Yes.
Medevere,
Yes.
and Freer.
Yes. Okay, unanimous, good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
One more for the purposes of the local board of health. Would you please introduce it to the public, Rose?
It's a public hearing on sewage disposal variance application of Sarah Landers, Amanda Sykes, and Megan Badeau.
Okay. So we're talking about a residence owned by those three individuals on 15 Signpost Road. And they are installing a Claris Fusion septic system with placement of a pre-existing non-conforming leach pit, 62 feet from Lakeshore shoreline in lieu of the required 100-foot setback on property located at 15 Signpost Road. So is there an agent that wishes to speak to this, or one of the owners apparently?
Hi,
Hi.
how are you? So we actually installed, you permitted in 2016, the Fusion. It was installed 4 years ago.
You need to introduce
Oh, I'm
yourself.
sorry. I'm Sarah Landers of 15 Signpost Road.
No, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So we installed with the permit from the town of Queensbury in 2016, Claris Fusion system in the same spot that the very antiquated non-working septic system was. And then this past spring went to do a small building project to fix a porch that was falling off a cottage that was built in 1935. And the initial permit was filed, and then the electrical piece passed. And then I got a call from Dave Hatton saying that I needed a septic variance. After chatting with him, putting in a first application, he sent it back and said, no, you don't need a septic variance. You need a zoning variance. And spoke with Mr. Brown, Craig Brown, who then after several weeks got back and said, no, it is actually a septic variance. So I resubmitted to Mr. Hatton, and here we are.
Okay.
So it's installed,
It was
working.
4 years ago. Yeah, it's great. We have the
This-
UV light.
I see it happen a lot.
Well, and that's one of the questions I have, because I sit on the North Queensbury wastewater,
Mhm.
and I know several of us in Dunham's Bay have installed these Claris systems with permits, but didn't need to get variances then. So I'm just
You answered a lot of questions for me because
okay.
I saw the deck and I saw the green top of the
Yeah.
system and I said, it's there.
Right, we already did it.
So, yeah, every once in a while this just happens.
Okay.
It's weird, but you're not the only one.
Okay. So I think we followed the rules. We did what we're supposed to do.
Right.
It works, and it's got the UV light. So although it's a seepage pit that's there, it's sterile water that comes out. We got as far away from the lake as we could without.
Yeah, well, and then if you will, let me explain to the public that the 100-foot is for your traditional system. You have put in a pre-treatment system, and in my opinion, it's one of the best. It's the Claris Fusion 450.
Yep.
And in addition to that, an ultraviolet system. So that water going out to the field, the scientists claim it's drinkable. I'm not going to try.
Yeah.
I'll just take their word. But what's going out to your leach bed is been heavily treated, as
Yes.
opposed to not in your traditional system. So I just want to point that out to folks. So are there any questions before we open the public hearing from the town board?
I would just want to commend you on how you get down to that house and back, because I went down
it's
there
not pretty.
today and it was
Yes,
quite steep.
it is. It is not always fun. That's why we don't use it in the winter.
Okay. Sarah, I'm going to ask the public if they have any questions, and I may call you back to answer some of those questions afterward.
Okay.
So have a seat, please. Thank you for cleaning up the area. So, is there anybody here that wishes to speak to this 15 Signpost Road resolution seeking variances, one variance? So I'll open the public hearing. Anybody present? Anybody in the Zoom world? No little blue hands. Anybody watching YouTube, would call in, area code 518-761-8225. All right. Not having any takers, I'll close the public hearing. Any further thoughts or questions on behalf of the town board? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So maybe.
Councilperson Freer, and who seconded? Councilperson Medevere. Roll call vote on this, please, Rose.
Councilperson McGee.
Yes.
Stroh.
Yeah.
Medevere.
Yes.
Freer.
Yes.
And Ferone.
Yes.
All right. Good luck, Mia. You can go ahead with your next project. All right, that's it for the Queensbury Local Board of Health. Can I have a motion to move out of the Queensbury Local Board of Health, please?
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Ferone, seconded by Councilperson Freer. All those in favor of moving out of the Queensbury Local Board of Health, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. We're now out of the Local Board of Health. So now we're just down to 9 more public hearings. Yeah, I was looking forward to the night.
No, I wasn't.
I threatened if he become very ill and have Deputy Supervisor Tony Medevere take over tonight. All right, so next thing we're going to be looking at is we have 3 environmental control districts. And these are districts, whether it's septic and or invasive species, it was set up to try and manage their bodies of water. And we're talking about Lake Sunnyside, Glen Lake, and Lake George. And it's their money they're spending. So the first hearing that we have is for, well, please introduce the Rose.
It's a public hearing on 2021 Glen Lake Aquatic Plant Growth Control District Benefit Tax Roll.
Okay. Paul McPhillips, Paul Derby, and the Glen Lake Association are doing an amazing job with Glen Lake. If you know Glen Lake, and they all know I do, on Sunday mornings, you usually see me paddle by. Sometimes you go in your place to hide from me, I know. But that lake has significantly improved, and it's through the efforts of the folks I just mentioned. And so what they're proposing is that their rate in controlling invasive species for the benefit tax roll is going to remain the same as it was last year. And I don't see Paul McPhillips, but Paul Derby, the former president, is here if we have any questions. So there's no changes in the rate in the benefit tax roll. So it would be about $140 per unit, $70 for half the unit, and so forth. So are there any thoughts before I open the public hearing? All right. I'll open the public hearing on this matter. Is there anybody here tonight that wishes to speak to the proposed tax roll for the Glen Lake Aquatic Plant Growth Control District. It's the same as it was last year. Anybody on Zoom? Anybody watching YouTube, please call 518-761-8225. This is where I have a sip of my coffee, and you notice it's a large coffee tonight. All right, having no one who wishes to speak to the proposed tax, I'll entertain a motion to approve. I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion to approve. Motion made by Councilperson McGee.
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilperson Medevere. Roll call vote, please, Rose.
Councilperson Medevere.
Yes.
Freer. Barone.
Yes.
McGee.
Yes.
And Straub.
Yeah. Oh, 8 more to go. All right, well, the next one, too, is the Lake Sunnyside folks are doing a great job at Lake Sunnyside as well. These, and so we're proposing a tax roll, and it's proposing to be the same. It's for the Lake Sunnyside Aquatic Plant Growth Control District. And the per unit price would be $72.42.4. And if it's 1.5 units, it would be $108.64. If it's a half a unit, it would be $36.21, and so forth. So, town board, wish to speak to this before I open the public hearing?
I just think we should make a broad policy that we use whole dollars for this kind of stuff.
All right.
It is a little weird.
Anybody here wish to speak to the Lake Sunnyside Aquatic Plant Control District benefit tax roll, which they proposed to us that we approve it as the same as it was last year for the year 2021. Anybody on Zoom? If you wish to call in, you're watching YouTube, it's area code 518-761-8225. All right, I'll close the public hearing. Any last thoughts on behalf of the town board? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Okay, roll call vote on this, please.
Councilperson Freer.
Yes, but I wish they'd use whole dollar.
Barone.
Yes.
McGee.
Yes.
Straub.
Yeah.
And Medevere.
Yes.
Next year.
Next year.
All right, the next is, introduce please, Rose.
Public hearing on 2021 North Queensbury Wastewater District Dunham's Bay Benefit Tax
I
Roll.
like this one.
All right, well, this district, when he set it up, is one of the first in New York State, one of the most progressive, and I would say one of the most effective. The septic system improvements that have gone on around Dunham's Bay as a result of the formation of this district, which has enabled them to get grant money to assist in building upgraded septic systems, has led to scientific data showing improvements in the water quality of Dunham's Bay, directly related to the septic system improvements. The type of algae that we look for, which is the algae strongly associated with human waste, strong reductions. And so it's proven to be very, very good, and you've got a very dedicated group of people. So with the COVID thing and everything else, and the pre-improvements that they've already have done, they're asking for an 85% reduction in the benefit tax roll. so that from this year to next year, 2021, the per unit contribution from the people in this district will be $10. Half a unit 5, 2 units 20, and so forth. Okay, any thoughts on this before I open the public hearing?
I like the fact that they could round to a nearest dollar.
I think we're up to what, 17 replaced systems at this point?
Something like that, Tommy.
It's only got like 62 properties, right?
It's amazing what they've done.
Yeah, no.
And I ran into Barb Sims the other day. Congratulate her. She had a really nice article done in the watersheds. Was it the watersheds newsletter?
What, for the district?
Yeah.
It's the North Queensbury wastewater disposal district.
No, they wrote a story about her and what she's done.
Oh, Sims, Barb?
Yeah.
Barb Sims, oh, yeah.
It was amazing.
Well, this is a project, I'm glad you brought that up. This is a project where Len and Barb Sims took the leadership with others around Dundas Bay to form this district. This wasn't a top-down. This district was a grassroots effort. And they came to us and said, would you help us form this district? And we said, by golly, yes, this is a very good thing. So this is a town board that will work with folks that want to improve the environment, improve the water quality. You'll find us 100% there with you, working with you. All right, so such as it is, I'll open the public hearing on setting the benefit tax roll for North Queensbury, or Dundas Bay, as we call it, wastewater disposal district. Is there anybody present that wishes to speak to this proposed tax roll? Anybody on Zoom? If you wish, you can make the call in. If you're watching us through YouTube, it's area code 518-761-8225. All right, hearing no interest from the public to speak to this, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Freer.
Second.
Seconded by Councilperson McGee. Roll call vote on this, please.
Councilperson Ferone,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
Stroud,
Yeah.
Medevere,
Yes.
and Freer.
Yes. Okay. Those are our three environmental districts. Now we're moving on to having 5 septic districts. The last public hearing, and that's probably why some of you are here, is to talk about a renewable energy system and facilities regulation law. But before we get to that, we have these sewer district benefit tax rolls to deal with, and we have public hearings on each one tonight. So, Rose, if you introduce the first one for the public.
So public hearing on 2021 Queensbury Consolidated Sanitary Sewer District Benefit Tax Roll.
All right, and the Director of Wastewater and Superintendent of Water is also here to answer any questions if you have any. Chris Harrington. All right, so Queensbury Sewer. This is up, proposed to be up 0.7% for 2021. We have a public hearing on this tonight. But before we do the public hearing on the proposed Queensbury Consolidated Sanitary Sewer District Benefit Tax Roll, are there any town board thoughts or questions?
No.
All right, I'll open the public hearing. Anybody present wish to speak to this benefit tax roll for Queensbury Consolidated Sanitary Sewer District? Anybody on Zoom? Folks watching on YouTube Live, call area code 518-761-8225. All right, having no interest in discussing this public hearing, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Brown,
Second.
seconded by Councilperson Freer. Roll call vote on this, please, Rose.
Councilperson McGee,
Yes.
Stroud,
Yes.
Medevere,
Yes.
Freer,
Yes.
and Perone.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Next, please, Rose, introduce to the public.
It's a public hearing on 2021 Reservoir Park Sanitary Sewer District Benefit Tax Roll.
All right, this is a very, very, very small Reservoir Park because it's located over near the Halfway Brook Reservoir. Public hearing on this tonight. It's an older system. It even has clay pipe. And it's a small system, so they're going to be more impacted by prices and repairs. And Chris Harrington is anticipating some repair would like a little bit more reserve in this area. So they're proposing a 6.7% increase for 2021. So we have a public hearing on this. Any town board? Nothing? All right, I'll open the public hearing. Anybody present wish to speak to the Reservoir Park Sanitary Sewer District Benefit Tax Roll being proposed for 2021? Nobody present? YouTube? Zoom? YouTube? Area code 518-761-8225. Okay, we've covered all our bases for the public hearing. So I'll close the public hearing and entertain a resolution to approve adopting Reservoir Park Sanitary Sewer District Benefit Tax Roll for 2021.
I'm over.
Moved by Councilperson Medevere.
Second.
Seconded by Councilperson McGee. I'll roll call vote on this, please, Rose.
Councilperson Stroud,
Yes.
Medevere,
Yes.
Freer,
Yes.
Perone,
Yes.
and McGee.
Yes.
Okay. If you will, Rose, please introduce our next.
It's a public hearing on 2021 Route 9 Sanitary Sewer District Benefit Tax Roll.
All right, so this is the Route 9 sewer district and proposing a 3.2% increase. And this is part of, you've probably read about in the papers that we've had several breaks in the Meadowbrook Road area over near the car dealerships. And I want to thank the car dealerships for being very cooperative with us in repairing these fixtures and the inconvenience that it cost them. But the pipes were buried decades ago, and they were not wrapped as they should in acidic wet soils. So we're replacing them, and that has a cost to it. So in order to meet the costs, this is we're proposing that 2021 go up 3.2% from 2020. There is a public hearing on this tonight. Town board thoughts?
That's not a
I'll open the public hearing. Anybody here wish to speak to the Route 9 Sanitary Sewer District Benefit Tax Roll for 2021? Zoom? Anybody from YouTube? Area code 518-761-8225. Okay, close the public hearing. And entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Perone, seconded by
I think it was.
Councilperson Freer. All right, roll call vote on this, please.
Councilperson Medevere,
Yes.
Freer,
Yes.
Perone,
Yes.
McGee,
Yes.
and Stroud.
Yeah. So that passed. So Rose, if you want to introduce the next public hearing?
It's a public hearing on 2021 South Queensbury, Queensbury Avenue Sanitary Sewer District Benefit Tax Roll.
Okay, this is going down 3.2%. The the South Queensbury, Queensbury Avenue Sanitary Sewer District Benefit Tax Roll. I'll open the public hearing. Anybody present wish to speak to the South Queensbury, Queensbury Avenue Sanitary Sewer District Benefit Tax Roll being proposed for 2021? Anybody in Zoom? Anybody in YouTube? Area code 518-761-8225. I think it's pretty boring too. All right, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion to approve.
Make motion.
All right, motion made by Councilperson McGee, seconded by Councilperson Matavir. Roll call vote on this, please.
Councilperson Freer.
Yes.
Barone.
Yes.
McGee.
Yes.
Stroud.
Yes.
And Medevere.
Yeah.
That's it. We're getting there. If you want to introduce the next public hearing.
It's a public hearing on 2021 West Queensbury Consolidated Sanitary Sewer District Benefit Tax Roll.
Okay, West Queensbury Consolidated Sewer District Benefit Tax Roll for 2021. And that's going down 8.1% because there's a bond extended for 30 years. So the annual costs are down. So the rates will be lowered by 8.1%. So I will open the public hearing on West Queensbury Consolidated Sewer District Benefit Tax Roll for 2021, proposed to go down 8.1%. Anybody present wish to speak to this? Anybody in Zoom? Anybody on YouTube? Area code 518-761-8225. Okay, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion to approve.
So could I just make a comment about, before we do that, is that we've been asked several times whether the whole town is paying for some of these sewer repairs, right? And it's important to note that the reason we've broken this down is so that the people who are getting the service are paying for both the service and the sustainability of those individual systems. It would be nice, but not easy, to do more consolidation. And I understand that the reason that we have so many of these is because there's different rates for different repair and capabilities, but the people who are getting the service are paying, and that's why we're going through this drill.
Okay, good point.
I'll make a motion to accept this.
All right, motion to approve made by Councilperson Freer, seconded by
I'll second.
Councilperson Medevere. Roll call vote on this, please, Rose.
Councilperson Barone.
Yes.
McGee.
Yes.
Stroud.
Yeah.
Medevere.
Yes.
And Freer.
Yeah.
All right. Sewer districts are done for another year. Okay, next, Rose.
It's a public hearing on a local law to amend Queensbury Town Code to establish renewable energy systems and facilities regulations.
All right. This whole process began, I think, about 3 years ago, when there was not a roof mounted, but a
Ground mounted system.
ground mounted system, thank you, in a neighborhood with, average lots for the 1970s, 80s, 90s era. And some of the neighbors found it obtrusive. We didn't have any codes preventing it. So this was an effort to try and put some regulation on ground mounted solar. And Councilperson Freer worked on this, and he wanted it applicable to possibly other areas, at least since we're creating a new chapter in our code to deal with this. We're going to label it Renewable Energy Systems and Facilities Regulations. So it may be perhaps someday more than solar. The proposed law will have no significant additional restrictions on rooftop. Ground-mounted, freestanding, both thermal and solar, there's going to be a minimum lot size, 1 acre. There's going to be a 75-foot setback, not in the front yard, not permitted. Height restriction to 12 feet. Screening in harmony with the neighborhood. Total square footage cannot exceed the building square footage on the lot. And the ground mounted will be permitted in all zoning districts if they basically meet those kind of requirements. So we also said, I'm summarizing a law that's fairly thick, but this is the essence of it. A lot of it's legal stuff. Solar farms. Solar farms will be allowed in 3 zones because that's where the interest has been for solar farms. Nothing occurred yet, but the interest is there. Highway intensive, commercial light industrial, and land conservation. So you will need a minimum of 5 acres. There won't be any specific setback requirements. Site plan review will be required by the planning board. And you will need approval by the planning board to put in a solar farm. So, again, those are some of the highlights of the proposed law. Harrison, is there anything that you wish to add to those highlights?
Oh, just the idea that the solar farm is going to actually make energy available off-site, and as the residential and ground-mounted solar that you described at the beginning will be for on-site use and not for sale or rent or lease off the premises, I think is the idea.
You mean the ground mounted solar?
Well, yeah, and the roof mounted residence.
Yeah, the roof. All right. So there is a public hearing on this. Is there any other thoughts or comments on behalf of the board before I open the public hearing? Seeing none, I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone here tonight that wishes to speak to this resolution, which is doing both? It's adopting a negative secret declaration, and it's adopting the law, open one resolution. So, and again, it's the Renewable Energy Systems and Facilities Regulations. Nobody present wish to speak to this? All right, anybody surprised? I figured this would have some public comment. Seeing none. Anybody through YouTube wish to ask a question or offer a comment to the proposed law? Please call area code 518-761-8225. Okay, having.
Can I make two more comments?
Yes, now's the opportunity for the town board to speak again.
So I'd like to thank Craig Brown for his patience in working with me on this, and also thank Catherine Atherton, who actually initiated this process when she was on the town board, because it's something that I think is going to continue to be of big interest, and the state is making sort of large moves in this area. So this will replace the moratorium that we've had in place for almost a year. And both of those individuals deserve credit for us getting on this page.
And you're right, and thank you for bringing it up. And it also makes me think that, this town board, everyone on this town board has worked on this. So I want to thank you too, and town council. They've reviewed it and they've made suggestions, so I want to thank them as well. So the product that you see here, is the product of a lot of work that went into this to get us to this point. We didn't want to be overly intrusive with this, but we wanted to provide some regulation, and I kind of highlighted the important things, and the public doesn't seem to have anything unacceptable in their liking about this proposal. So I'll entertain a motion to
Close the public hearing.
I'll close the public hearing, thank you, Rose, and adopt a secret negative declaration and enacting a law to amend Queensbury Town Code to establish a renewable energy system and facilities regulation.
So moved.
I'll second.
Moved by Councilperson Freer, seconded by Councilperson McGee. Roll call vote on this, please, Rose.
Did you go through the
the
full environmental
secret
assessment
yeah,
form?
but you go, I'm sorry.
Did you do that at a meeting I wasn't at? It looked like that's what we're
Yeah,
going to
well,
do
we
now.
have the form here, and if you
So,
go
want me to lead you through it?
part B
Yeah.
with
Has everyone had a chance to look at the full environmental assessment form, part 1, to go through and figure out the facts that are laid out? I can lead you through the questions in part 2 if you wish. This is part 2 of the full environmental assessment form. Question number 1, impact on land.
Do you want
I
to
hear
read
one
that?
no.
Do you want to go ahead and read what they're saying about the impact on land, and then we'll address it, Bob, or do you?
No, if you've all gone through the process and are ready to give your analysis.
So the
is
impact
there
on land, the consensus is no?
No.
Okay, go ahead, please, Bob.
number 2, impact on geological features?
No.
Number 3, impacts on surface water?
No.
Number 4, impact on groundwater?
No.
Impact on number 5, impact on flooding?
No.
Number 6, impacts on air?
No.
Number 7, impacts on plants and animals?
No.
Number 9, impacts on agricultural resources?
No.
Number 9, impact on aesthetic resources?
No.
10, impact on historic and archaeological resources?
No. And I want to point out to the public that we're talking about the law, not a specific project. Okay. 11.
11 is impact on open space and recreation.
No.
Number 12 is the impact on critical environmental areas.
No.
Number 13 is the impact on transportation.
No.
Number 14 is the impact on energy,
No.
Well, yes.
Negative.
but not a negative, not a harmful impact on
Correct.
energy.
No.
Number 15, impact on noise, odor, and light.
No.
Number 16, impact on human health.
No.
Again, no negative. Number 17, consistency with community plans.
No.
Number 18, consistency with community character.
No.
So, those stands as the negative.
And the resolution that you have before you has as part of it negative declaration.
Okay. So, entertain a motion to approve our new law. All right.
Yeah.
Again.
Second time.
Moved by Councilperson Freer, seconded by Councilperson McGee. Roll call vote on this, please.
Councilperson McGee,
Yes.
Stroud,
Yeah.
Medevere,
Yes.
Freer,
Yes.
and Ferone.
Yes.
Congratulations. That's a major
Good job, Harrison.
step forward. All right. Next, we have 7 resolutions before us tonight. I'm going to briefly describe each one. If you wish to speak to it, I'm going to give you the opportunity to speak to any of the resolutions. If you're here to talk about, or you're there to talk about some other town issue, I will give you the opportunity to do so after the resolutions, but this part of the meeting is just to the resolution. So would you introduce resolution 4.1 to the public, please, Rose?
So resolution authorizing restoration, reconstruction of Foster Avenue, Upper Glen Street intersection by Edward and Thomas O'Connor, Inc.
All right, we had a blowout, a water main blowout on Foster Avenue as it intersects with Route 9 over near the Price Chopper. And in order to repair that, we had to disturb the curbing, we had to disturb Route 9. And New York State, when you replace it, it has to be replaced according to their standards. So we communicated with them. We developed a design that meets their standards. And now it's time to restore and reconstruct the roadway. So we got the lowest quote. We went out to bid, and we got a lowest quote from Edward and Thomas O'Connor, dated September 16, 2020, for an amount of $34,125. Yes, an expensive water main break, but we don't have any options. And I think the people that live in the area want us to repair it in the same standards that the state expects. So we have that resolution before us. Next resolution.
Resolution authorizing local tourism promotion and convention development agreement with World Awareness Children's Museum.
All right, so the World Awareness Children's Museum, and I want to thank Mr. and Mrs. Tuba for all they've done to make that cultural asset a reality. They're asking for $3,600 of occupancy tax to help them develop a digital world that they'll propose to students. I'm sure someday the world will return to normal, so they need the camera, and they need archival work and editing. They need some editing and advertising and some software. And so they're asking us for $3,600 in this world of COVID, where they're not experiencing a lot of revenue income, to develop something that will develop revenue income. And we use context for this because, when there was a study done on tourism in our area, about 39% of the respondents said that they attend our area for a variety of reasons, but 39% said for the cultural and historical aspects that our community offers. So, we're talking about everything from the Ethan Williams Monument to Fort William Henry to the Chapman Museum, the Hyde Museum, and the World Awareness Children's Museum. All those great assets do help attract people to visit our area. And so that's what ITEX is all about. So that's resolution 4.2. 4.3, please.
Resolution authorizing electrical work at highway building by Hewitt Young Electric.
Well, as you know, for decades, people have talked about the need for a new highway building. The other building is dilapidated, it's been worked on, and we had the engineers analyze it, and they said, well, listen, don't waste your money. But the building will be good for storage, cold storage, and we need cold storage. We have a lot of equipment setting outside. So we're building a new highway building. That's probably no secret to you. Another thing that's no secret is when you're building a new building like this, and you've got a big project like this, you're going to come across things that you didn't foresee in the first round. All right, this one was we were going to bring electric over to the new building from the old building and so forth. The electric is so old, it's not advised that we work with it to bring electricity over. So it needs to be replaced. So we did go out and get quotes for the reconstruction. The lowest quote was from Hewitt Young Electric, dated September 16, 2020, in the amount of $16,600 to upgrade our electric system in that area. Resolution 4.4.
So resolution affirming consistency of site plans as modifications to the Fowler Square planned unit development.
All right, this resolution, Fowler Square is the PUD, a planned unit development. And they have new people working with them, and the owners of Queensbury Partners as partners, I believe partners would be the best term, with some new firms that are going to make this finally happen. I think it's going to be a wonderful project, and they've tweaked it. I mean, for example, they came to the town board at a workshop, and that was Zoom, and it was made public. It's out there and recorded, and they want to tweak some things with this Powder Square PUD. I mean, for example, the garbage pickup. What was there was pretty much non-existent. They wanted to design something and modernize it with today's pickup standards and so forth. The doors of some of the apartments were arranged such that when you parked in the parking area, you had to walk around the building to get into your apartment. That didn't make sense. So they have redesigned those apartments so that you park, you go on the door, bingo. So they have redefined the ingress and egress points. And so they tweaked it a little bit here and there. They twisted the buildings here and there to make it better. They've got some very nice designs. You know, we've got all this material from them. Here's some of the looks. Maybe, I don't know. You can see this. My Zoom camera to zoom it in. Anyhow, it's going to have 142 apartments and some commercial space and some space that they're going to use for their own purposes, for the management of the whole entity and so forth. So we've reviewed the plan for consistency. And if this board thinks that this project is fairly consistent, they will vote approval on the consistency. That's what this resolution is. Next resolution, please.
Resolution authorizing purchase of skid steer loader for use by Highway Department.
All right, so the Highway Department, Superintendent of Highways, David Dole, and his deputy, Superintendent Mark Dunware, are both here. And so, as you know, CHIPS money is money that can be used for paving and or equipment used for paving and so forth. And we're very worried about next year, are you going to get any CHIPS? They're not going to allow rollover, so usually they did. You know, there's so many question marks. We want to spend this year's CHIPS. So if it's going to benefit the taxpayers of getting equipment now and using the CHIPS money, then that's what the Highway Department wants to do, and I think it's a good thing. So they want to purchase a skid steer loader. And it's going to be used for multiple things. It's going to be used for paving. It can be even used for clearing of snow and so forth. The purchase total of this, it's a town Bobcat 863, and with a total purchase price of $64,030, as set forth in Milton Catt's quote dated 9/23/2020, presented at this meeting. So it's in accordance with New York State Office of General Services Procurement Services Contract PC 66988 for the amount of $74,030.20 minus the trade-in. So that's $10,000. So it comes to $64,030.20. Okay, I think it's approved. 4.6, please, Rose.
Resolution authorizing purchase of 2020 model HB 513 International 6x4 dump, plow, and wing truck for Highway Department.
All right, so again, this is CHIPS money, and this is to buy a new snowplow. You know, a few years ago, we did an analysis because somebody made the claim that we've got the Cadillac of Highway Department insurance. Our average vehicle is 16 years old, folks. So some people talk without knowing what they're talking about. All right, our job is to make sure that you're your roads get plowed. And we can only plow them with good equipment. With 20 and 25-year-old equipment that's breaking down, and we need to have 20 plows on the road. And we need to have a couple of backup plows because even, they break down. So our new building will house those plows. So this is a truck, a plow, and a 6x4 dump combination. It's a vehicle that we can get now, and we're using CHIPS money. And the total amount will be $201,031.86. As set forth in HAL gauge sales quote dated September 15th, 2020. And it'll be reimbursed to the town, and we'll be using our CHIPS money for that, if it passes the town board. And the last resolution before us tonight, please.
Resolution approving out of bills warrant of 9/29/2020.
Okay, and one date of September 24th, and the payment date of September 29th, totaling $9,947.85. Those are the resolutions before us tonight, and I will, first of all, before I open the public to share their thoughts or any of the resolutions you want to speak to before I do that. Okay, anybody here wish to speak to any of the resolutions before the town board tonight? Nobody present? Anybody's own?
When did the PUD project start, John?
When,
He was a young man. He was
1985. We bought the property from Queensbury Church in 1985.
Congratulations and good luck with all that.
Thank you.
that was easy, wasn't it?
Yeah, that,
Fine. All right, so anybody wish to call in with any thoughts on the resolutions before this town board tonight? The YouTube, area code 518-761-8225. Okay. Having no public comment on the resolutions before the town board tonight, any comment or thoughts on behalf of the town board? Any particular resolutions you would like to have pulled out for a roll call? All right, then I'd like to have a resolution approving resolutions 2.1 through 2.9.
I'll move it.
Moved by Councilperson
4.1 to 4.7.
4.1 through 4.7. Yeah, I'm getting a little dizzy.
That's a lot of public hearings.
Yeah, well, thank you for keeping me straight. All right,
I'll
moved by
start.
Councilperson Medevere, seconded by Councilperson Ferone. Was that it? Or was it Harrison?
I can second it if you like.
Oh, I didn't know if he raised his hand. Either or.
All right, we'll go with Ferone. Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson Stroud,
Yes.
Medevere,
Yes.
Freer,
Yes.
Ferone,
Yes.
and McGee.
Okay. Now, any correspondence, Rose?
Just one. The 2021 tentative budget has been received, distributed to the town board members, and a copy will be on file in the town clerk's office.
My budget goes to the town board. It's the town board. Okay. And we will have public hearings on that in early November. And, okay, so now it's a privilege of the floor to talk to the town board. Good luck to you guys. Talk to the town board about any town matter. Is there anybody present who would like to talk to the town board tonight? Yes, sir, if you please come forward and introduce yourself and then discuss the topic.
Hi, my name is Warren Valero. I'm a 7-year resident of Queensbury.
All right, Warren.
And
Valero, V-A-R.
Vollaro.
All right. Good Italian name, huh?
Thanks. So, the issue I'm bringing up tonight is I live at 686 Upper Glen Street, which is adjacent to Glendale Drive. And I believe we're in Ward 2, District 3, which is Mr. Freer's district, I believe. So the problem we have is on Glendale Drive is O'Reilly Auto Parts, they do deliveries at 2 o'clock in the morning, 5 nights a week. And I was hoping some of my fellow residents would come to corroborate my story. But what's happening is they're waking us up at that time when we all have to go to work. So I did some research and I found out a Department of Transportation determination. It's a dead-end street that's less than 1,000 feet with no cul-de-sac. So the truck has to cross 2 lanes of Route 9, both northbound and southbound lanes, blocking the traffic to back up into the Glendale Drive to do their delivery. And so what I found out is that the Department of Transportation has an Article 342-93, which states any 12 to 18 wheel vehicle may not enter a residential dead end equal to or less than 1,000 feet with no cul-de-sac present. A no-through traffic sign has been deemed unenforceable to this designate, which means they really can come into the street to do the delivery. But there is a law by the Department of Transportation with a short dead end. There's no turnaround. There's 5 residences on Glendale Drive, and I'm not sure if we're zoned as a commercial area or a residential area.
It's zoned commercial.
It's zoned commercial. So, and I'm aware there's no sound ordinance in Queensbury either, but my neighbors we're all getting together and they were complaining to me. And I said, well, let's go to a town board meeting, present our case to the town board.
I'm sorry, what was your first name again?
Warren.
Warren, maybe I can make this simple here. I was on the planning board at the time when that O'Reilly project was approved. And I know there were concerns by the folks who lived on that road. And they expressed those during that meeting. And whoever the representative was from O'Reilly, I don't recall who, I don't know if it was their developer or whatever. But I believe it's on the record that they were not supposed to bring semi-tractor trailers in there. They had said that the deliveries for that store was going to come from a larger store in Albany, I believe, but they said they were only going to use box trucks. Now,
that's right. Yes.
That's part of the problem. Again, the other part with deliveries early in the morning, I don't know what we could do about that.
It's not more early in the morning. It's what happens is the truck blocks both the northbound and southbound lane to back into Glendale Drive. And I went out a couple of nights to see, and someone almost slammed right into the truck.
But your contention is that it's being done at night.
It's being done at 2 o'clock in the morning, 5 nights a week, though. 1 night a week I could see. What do they need 5 nights a week out of an 18-wheeler? I mean, it takes them like approximately 40 minutes each delivery. So I'm wondering, what do they need? I mean, is there that many customers? No.
Do they keep the trucks idling when they're unloading?
No, he shuts the truck off. He turns it off, but the lift and everything is so loud. And my neighbors were all, there's 5 residences there, so everybody works. Nobody's unemployed. We're all workers, so I have to get up and go to work in the morning. But more of the issue also is that there have been 7 major accidents on Upper Glen Street between Glenwood Road and Quaker Road. Sometimes I don't know whether to go out with a checkered flag or a caution flag. It's been like that. So I believe that it's a danger to the public to do this, and I wish my neighbors were here to help me corroborate what's happening there. I don't know if there's anything you can do.
Well, we can certainly look into it, and we will, Warren.
Yeah, because see, the thing is about this Department of Transportation laws, they have to back in, because if they pull in, forward, there's nowhere for them to turn around.
No, they can't get out of there.
They can't get out of there, and they can't even turn into the parking lot that O'Reilly built in the back because the way those trucks back up, there's not enough room for it to go back into the dead end, and it's a short dead end. It's
an extremely narrow street.
It's extremely narrow, and it's about 750 feet, I believe.
Well, that's where flower land used to be back there. So anyhow, that's Award 2.
Yes.
And so would you please send us your contact information? Use our
Sure.
website. You can either send it to me
Okay.
or Award 2 Representative Harrison Freer, and we'll look into that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
Anybody else wish to speak to the town board about any town topic? You do too bad.
No.
Anybody out there on the Zoom world? Anybody in YouTube? 518-761-8225. Okay, yeah, it's earlier than I thought. I thought it would be later.
I'm impressed.
All right,
Good thing I
so,
didn't bet.
town board discussions, let's start with Tony.
I actually have nothing tonight. Although they're starting paving Sunnyside, which I just cannot believe. Finally, many years in the making.
What's that, Tony?
I said they started work on paving Sunnyside Road today. So
Oh, they
I
did?
told you we're going to have a party when that's done. So
Less than 50 people.
I know
I did see the equipment there in the corner when I
it's
drove.
very exciting. You have no idea.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So I'll be able to ride my bicycle on that road again. Because right now it bends the rims.
Yeah.
I have a quick question for Dave Dool. When are they going to do Garrison?
Tomorrow morning.
Good answer.
No, but they had a mechanical breakdown on another job that they were on
Okay.
last week, and it got delayed.
Okay.
So they're going to be out there tomorrow.
What I thought was ironic is they had Bay Road closed. They had Fort Amherst Road closed.
And Webster,
And
because they had that main break. They had a
Yeah.
sewer main break.
Yeah. So you had to use Garrison, all dug up and all set.
Okay, Harrison?
Well, that was my one question. At the risk of getting John, I want a very, very short answer to the question of when do you think the Halfway Brook Trail will be usable?
By the end of October.
Okay, that's great. Congratulations on your bridge building skills. Impressive.
It was my 5th bridge. Well, thank you. George?
No, I don't have much. I just wanted to commend the highway department again. They always do a great job, but they had some stormwater projects they've done in Ward 3, and they do a nice job on that. So they all take time, but they get done one at a time. So I thank them for that.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, George. Amanda?
I just have kudos. My family and I went to the bike trail behind the Great Escape, and we rode to get refreshments at the Garrison, and it was beautiful. And there were families of all shapes and sizes on foot, on bike, on scooters, and some masked, some not, but it was just quintessential Lake George area autumn beauty, and I'm just grateful we have it.
And yes, and we're going to have a beautiful system, a bike system, keep our population healthy and attract tourists to our area. I mean, for example, our single track trails on Kenny Lane were rated #1 in New York State by singletrack.com. So, all right. So my turn. I'm glad that we have a bulk inspection program, because otherwise, Vanguard and Hydrilla, which were discovered on infected boats, may have entered Lake George. But because they were discovered and cleaned up, they were prevented from entering Lake George. So again, speaks to the adult inspection program. And I want to thank Dave Wick and the Fund for Lake George and Bob Blaze and Ron Conover and Queensbury's involved with it. A lot of people don't realize that Queensbury has about 13.5 miles of Lake George coastline. Okay? We have more than probably some of the municipalities you think have a lot. We do. We've got, the peninsulas, of course, which create a lot of coastline. Cleverdale and Assembly Point and Rockhurst. And we go all the way up Pilot Knob. And anyway, so a lot of people don't realize that northern Queensbury, which has a border that extends into Lake George, and the border actually goes between Speaker Heck and Long Island and then cuts over to Port Anne. And we share that Pilot Knob with Port Anne. All right, and that's it for me. I want to thank everybody. Joe Barlow from Look TV, Peter Pate from Pate Productions, Town Attorney Bob Hafner, Deputy Town Clerk Rose, Town Board. Thank you all for coming tonight, and thank you for putting up with what is a pretty boring meeting. But we got through it all. All right, how about a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Councilperson Fromm, seconded by Councilperson McGee. All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, we're now adjourned.
The following program is underwritten by the generous support of Associates of Glens Falls and Loomis & Lipan Insurance. Since 1852, they have been assisting both businesses and individuals across the country secure the most comprehensive insurance products available. Associates of Glens Falls is proud to partner with Central Insurance Companies. Public affairs programming on Look TV is underwritten by the generous support of Pinnell's Restaurant, classic Italian-American food since 1922, and Stored Tech, technology solutions for computers, networks, and phone. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcomed. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Most cybersecurity firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.